that President Ruto had, called Gideon in order for them to have a pact, which is good, ideally. But one interesting thing, Fred, that I want to tell you, and I would want Honorable Ote to refute this. You know, every time maybe two or more leaders from Mount Kenya, come together and look for one another, that's tribalism. And that is what, that is a narrative that President Ruto and his supporters have been perpetuating. So, Rigathi Gachagua, when he meets Mother Karua, that's tribalism. But when Gideon Moi and Ruto, who are both Kalenjin, now look for one another, they come together, that is national reconciliation, or, building nationhood. So what we are saying is, ideally, from where I see it, I have no problem with the President Ruto looking for Gideon Moi. The only problem I have is where, from our region, when leaders come together, it is branded, tribalism. And that is something that I really have taken issue with. Mm-hmm. And now I hear that Gideon Moi is going to be given a cabinet slot. And remember, as per our constitution, Fred, we cannot exceed a number of 22. Cabinet secretaries. Mm-hmm. So, of course, there are some casualties that are going to be there, if that is the plan. To accommodate Gideon, of course, there are people who will lose their seats, and we can only wait and see.
That cabinet reshuffle has really been talked about,
yes.
Quite a lot of rumors. Why do you think it is necessary now for the president to carry out a reshuffle?
The way I see it, and again, we are very sorry that we lost the Honorable Prime Minister, Raila Odinga, whom I had a lot of respect for, and I've said that here. But the demise of the late Prime Minister, of course, will have a lot of impact on the political landscape. And the only strategy that William Ruto had on winning back his seat in 2027, I would say, was Raila Odinga and his supporters. Now, if you watched the happenings at Nyutu Stadium during, the service that was held there for the late Prime Minister, anybody who was keen, in fact, not keen, anybody who watched, you didn't have to be keen. It was very clear. And again, that's something I challenge Honorable Ote to refute. It was very clear that ODM supporters have not been supporting broad-based government. But they respected Raila Odinga, and so they were like, just quiet. They did not want to oppose it because it had the support of Raila Odinga. And that is explained by the way ODM supporters, because most of the people that went to Nyutu Stadium are ODM supporters. The way they received Uhuru Kenyatta, the way they were called towards William Ruto, of course, had to send William Ruto back to the drawing board. And that is why now, he has to reorganize himself. He has to see how he can be able to appease the ODM base. Because, of course, and I had said it many times, that it's only ODM leaders that were in broad-based government, not the holloi polloi of ODM. And it was very there for anybody. Of course, people can deny, but it was there for everybody and anybody to see at Nyutu Stadium. And so, William Ruto must now re-engineer himself. He has lost most of his major support bases. He has lost Mount Kenya, he has lost the former Western Province, he has lost almost everywhere. The only place he thought, apart from his native, from his base in Rift Valley, and not the whole Rift Valley, of course, the only place now that he thought he would compensate for the lost support in other grounds was basically, to speak, Luo Nyanza, but say ODM support. And so with it, because he's a keen politician, William Ruto is a smart politician. He, of course, saw what happened at Nyutu Stadium. He also consumes intelligence on a daily basis. So he must now reorganize his government to accommodate as many people from ODM as possible. But before I finish this, Fred, just allow me to tell my friend, Honorable Ote, That he cannot say that Magufuli was appearing on car roofs and the Tanzanians liked him, and so why would the Kenyans complain about President Ruto appearing on car roofs? In case Honorable Lote has forgotten, Magufuli used to appear in public, yes, many times, and he would solve problems on the spot. We mkuu wa wilaya, mkuu wa mkoa, njoo hapa. Huyu mama analalamika sijui nini. But President Ruto appears on car roofs making promises that he does not keep. And that is a major difference. Okay. So you cannot compare President Ruto's appearances on car roofs with President Magufuli's appearances on car roofs. Okay. And Honorable Lote has, said something that should not go unchallenged. That, the President Ruto appears because he loves the people. Really? Loves the people? And is not willing to sort out their health care? That today, as we speak, our people cannot be treated in private hospitals on the strength or with the support of SHA? And you tell us this president loves the people? A president who has not sorted out very basic problems with education, capitation, and that kind of thing, then you tell us, allow me please a second, then you tell us he loves the people. Then Lote tells you that President Ruto had to call Gideon Moi because he did not want Gideon Moi to be humiliated by the UDA candidate. Hello? I mean, it's the other way around. William Ruto was very, very much afraid that Gideon Moi would win the Baringo senatorial seat on Kanu, which then would send a very strong message on President Ruto's lack of support at home. And that is why he called Gideon Moi, and we suspect he promised him very many things. Government business for Standard Group, payment of debts. I just want to believe because I was not there. But actually it's the other way around. Right. President Ruto feared a Gideon Moi win.
How is the united opposition sitting? Because they've also been very silent over the past 2 weeks.
Maybe I can start with that one, Fred. I don't think in a united opposition that people have been fighting against Raila Odinga. In fact, I have expressed myself elsewhere and said we do not understand why ODM is fighting us, because we do not fight. We have never fought ODM. And I'm there. I'm on record having said that especially the outfit that I belong to does not have and has never had any problem with Raila Odinga. And I had said it long before his demise, because we did not vote for him and because he was not the one running government. And so we couldn't have opposed Raila Odinga. And so for us, the only person who is affected is the one who was using Raila Odinga as their life support machine. So for us in the united opposition, the sad death of the Honorable Prime Minister does not affect, our politics as such, because our target is William Ruto, who is a stumbling block.
Yes.
And
on that mission, don't you see opportunities now emerging that the kind of influence that ODM had, especially in areas like Western Kenya, is now under threat following the exit or the sad death of Raila Odinga, that now they're talking more about Nyanza region. Don't you see opportunities there? Don't you see opportunities at the coast where he received a lot of support? Don't you see a lot of opportunity in Ukambani region, which has voted for Raila Odinga on 3 occasions?
I would really hate to call it an opportunity, because of course if I said that, then of course people will start saying that there are people celebrating the death of Raila Odinga, and I want to be very categorical and disassociate myself actually with the comments of Mutahi Kahiga last week, because all of us are mortal human beings and nobody is death exempt. It will happen to everybody at one point in time. And so I wouldn't want to call it an opportunity. What I may want to call it is that now is what I may want to say. Basically, Lotte here says that we are the ones to say what Ruto has lost and what he has not lost. Of course, we live in this country. I mean, and so I can tell you that for Western, Ruto had already lost that a long time ago. And there is evidence all over, Fred. You will see the way people like Natembea, who are opposed to Ruto, of course, and his government are received. That is why you will see Boni Khalwale, who is the whip, the majority whip in the national, in the Senate, of course, hitting on this government like nobody's business, because he knows people are not with this government. So the only thing that I think, the only places that I think will change is especially Luo Nyanza, because everybody must agree that Raila Odinga had that grip on Luo Nyanza votes and politics that may not, that any other leader may not have in the very near future. It will take time, because even Raila Odinga took time to build it. So what then that means in my thinking is that now everybody can go to Luo Nyanza and campaign and have some hope of maybe convincing a few people, because there is no leader now holding that tight grip. That is the only thing that I see changing. Of course, cost also could change. That now the grip, because again, Raila Odinga had a very strong, a very firm grip on the votes of Coast Province. So now, without Raila Odinga, then it means that now Coast Province will be open for everybody. Because there will be nobody holding that kind of, of grip. And so things are going to change. And I have said it elsewhere also, that anybody who also thrived on, attacking and bedeviling and, disparaging Raila Odinga will also have problems. And so Raila Odinga's death will have impact not only in his support basis, but also in the basis that did not support him, in that if anybody thrived on railing or nailing him, then they may not have somebody, they may not have a target. But kindly allow me, Fred.
For Western Kenya, before you continue, okay. For Western Kenya, for example, the ODM party had more than, had the majority of MPs.
What is there? And give it to Raila Odinga, Fred. There is even a time, was it 2000 and 2000, I think, 2007? I may not remember very well. Around 2007, when Musalia Mudavadi ran for president. Raila Amolo Odinga was able to, to garner almost every other vote in Western Kenya, even with Musalia Mudavadi, a son of Western Kenya, on the ballot. Now, without Raila Amolo Odinga, now to come to your question, it will be very hard for ODM to continue having the kind of grip on Western Kenya again that Raila Amolo Odinga actually had. But that depends on many things. Because I believe if, for example, today ODM decided that they are going to front Sifuna, for example, as the presidential candidate, then of course that would change, the fortunes of ODM in Western province. In Western Kenya. But as we speak now, without Raila Amolo Odinga, Western Kenya will chart its own path and expect, the other parties other than ODM. Because UDA is dead in Western Kenya. That one I can assure you. It is dead, and dead. Regardless of what Lotte tells you, it is dead in Western Kenya. And so what will happen is that there will, if, for example, Western Kenya comes out with an outfit, a new outfit, or maybe rallies around an outfit like that of DAP Kenya of Eugene Wamalwa, or maybe any other outfit. Of course, I'm telling you, Western Kenya will lock out UDA, Western Kenya will lock out ODM, in my thinking. But having said that, Honorable Lotte is contradicting himself. He's saying that my reading of the events at Nyayo Stadium were not right, because ODM leaders who spoke and who have been speaking have said that they are going to continue supporting the broad-based government. That is exactly what I had said, Honorable Ote, that ODM leaders have been supporting broad-based government. But the holoi polloi, those are the words I had used. And if you want to know the thinking, and Honorable Ote here is a politician, he knows, when our people across the board in this country, when they get done with you, and I can tell you this, Fred, it's only because Lotte here, I know once we leave this space, he will tell me you are right. But he cannot say it here because it's convenient for him not to say it. If people are done with you, I'm telling you, Fred, you will go to them. They will even behave like they have not seen you. When they value and love you and still appreciate your leadership, they will not contain themselves. And that is why you saw a very warm reception again of Babu Owino, just the mention of that name. I mean, then that was Bondo, in Bondo, actually. And so, Lotte, you cannot tell us that, that spontaneous reaction of people counts for nothing in politics. I mean, unless you want to, to just engage in self-denial and denial of facts. Now, he says that Sifuna has finally accepted to work with William Ruto. And I also got shocked when I saw him saying that, and I'll ask him today. I believe I'll meet him in the afternoon. I'll ask him, my brother, what changed? Mm-hmm. But I can tell you, I believe the kind of pressure, yes, that has been exerted on Edwin Sifuna by William Ruto and the ODM brigades that support William Ruto is too much, that Sifuna had to read that particular statement. And so, and expect that. There'll be a lot of arm twisting. I mean, pressure, arm twisting, and that kind of thing. So when leaders say that they will support William Ruto in 2027, I had said that. Leaders, yes. But the common ODM supporter holds a very different view. He says nobody is targeting Mount Kenya. And for me, he has actually challenged me to produce clips. Honorable Ote, I want to remind you, there is an MP from Bungoma County called Dan Wanyama. And he said one time, in the presence of William Ruto himself, that they are uniting to isolate Mount Kenya. And William Ruto, when he stood to speak, because he spoke last, of course, as president, did not castigate, did not condemn the comments by Dan Wanyama. Okay. Adan Duale, a cabinet secretary who has failed miserably, and he's always talking politics instead of sorting out issues that with the Shah and that kind of thing. Every time he's saying there are some people thought they are the only ones, they did not want development to go to other regions other than, and he is a cabinet minister. William Ruto has never ever condemned those comments by his own cabinet secretary, Danduale, and so many other instances. And so we cannot fully...
When Lotte, you'll get an opportunity to react to that. Allow me just to sample some views from our viewers, and I'll give you a chance. On TV47 Kenya, on Facebook, we were asking, do you think Ruto is already playing his 2027 cards or just outsmarting his rivals early? And some of your feedback here. You can see Fred Mukwa says he is desperately strangling himself. Mimi siitwi Josiah ata. Kwa hivyo unaitwa Josiah. He says, which rival? Ruto sahi ata akipotea and resurfaces on the voting day, he will still win. Yator KW says, rivals? Which rivals? Sharon Kananu, that man is a political genius. He's already doing that. Hisa Eric, Ruto is smarter than any of his competitors. If you want to understand Ruto well, enter into